Are you dealing with State Farm after a car crash here in Louisiana? They're counting on you not knowing how their system really works. In this video, I'm going to show you how to report your claim, the tricks State Farm uses to reduce payouts, what damages you're actually entitled to, and how to maximize your compensation instead of settling for less than you deserve. Hey, I'm injury attorney Lloyd Bourgeois, your Louisiana injury attorney, and I've spent years helping injured folks just like you fight back when insurance companies try to take advantage of them. If you've been in a crash and need an attorney in your corner, give me and my team a call at 504-882-9867 for your free case consultation. Remember, when you want to win, you gotta give them the L. State Farm didn't become one of the largest insurance companies in America by generously paying out claims. They protect their bottom line by minimizing what they pay to injured folks, and they perfected the tactics that do exactly that. Let me show you how their system works so you don't fall into their traps. Louisiana is a fault-based state, which means if you're injured in a crash, you typically pursue compensation from the at-fault driver's insurance company, not your own. So if the driver hit you is insured by State Farm, you're going to file a third-party claim with them, not your own insurer. Before you call State Farm, gather the information you need: other driver's policy number, a copy of the police report, photos of the accident scene, photos of vehicle damage, and any contact information for witnesses. When you file a claim, State Farm's going to assign a claim number. Keep that number handy at all times because you'll need it to track your claim through the system or when you're submitting any information related to your claim. There are some exceptions where you might have to use your own coverage. That's if you have like medical payments coverage or the other driver is uninsured or underinsured and you carry UM. But generally, in Louisiana, you want to go through that at-fault driver's insurance. Here's the reality. State Farm is intently focused on protecting their profits. That means they'll try to reject your claim or deny it if they can find any reason to do so. When you file a claim, they're going to assign a claim adjuster to investigate the crash and determine liability. This adjuster works for State Farm, not you, no matter how nice they may seem. Their job is to find ways to pay less or deny your claim entirely. If they can prove that their driver wasn't responsible, they'll get out of paying you completely. If they can argue your injuries aren't serious as they claim, they'll pay you less. State Farm has many techniques for gathering information to use against you. And one of the most dangerous is asking for a recorded statement. Giving a recorded statement to State Farm is usually a mistake. Here's why. The adjuster is going to ask you leading questions designed to get information that helps them reduce or deny your claim. They might say things like, "You're not as injured as you initially thought, right? Or your pain isn't that bad now, is it?" If you're not paying close attention, you might even agree to these statements, even though they may be false or misleading. The adjuster might also try to get you to say something that sounds like you're accepting responsibility for the crash. Here in Louisiana, if you share any fault, your compensation gets reduced by your percentage of the blame. And if your responsibility is more than 51%, you lose out completely. So if State Farm can get you to admit partial responsibility in a recorded statement, they're going to use that to slash your settlement or possibly deny it altogether. That's why you should have an attorney handling all communications with State Farm. Attorneys know the tricks adjusters use and are there to protect your right to fair compensation. What you're entitled to depends on who is at fault and what harm you suffered. While you might use your own policy to cover immediate medical costs and property damage, other damages like pain and suffering typically require pursuing the at-fault driver and their insurance directly. In Louisiana, you can file a personal injury lawsuit if you suffered permanent injury, loss of a body part, scarring, loss of a fetus, displaced fractures, or death, or even more minor injuries. In these cases, you can seek both compensation for your economic losses, like medical bills and lost wages, as well as your non-economic damages, like pain and suffering, for those intangible losses. Non-economic damages include pain and suffering, emotional distress, loss of enjoyment of life, loss of companionship. If the at-fault driver didn't have insurance or had inadequate coverage, you might alternatively pursue these damages under your own uninsured or underinsured motorist policy, which may also be with State Farm. Understanding what damages exist in your case help you determine what you should seek from State Farm. Always consult with an experienced injury attorney to make sure you've accurately calculated everything you're owed. There are several steps injured folks can take to make sure they get fair compensation from State Farm. First, call the police to the accident scene as soon as it happens. It's required by law if there's injury, and the police report is critical for establishing the basic facts of the crash. Second, get immediate medical attention. Getting a professional diagnosis of your injuries as soon as possible, even if you don't think you're seriously hurt, can go a long way in your claim. Proof of your injuries is crucial to getting fair compensation. Continue monitoring how you feel in the days, weeks, and months following the crash, and document any changes. Third, keep detailed records of all the money you spent. Save medical bills, prescription receipts, repair estimates, proof that you missed work. Many clients receive compensation for all of these losses, but only if they're properly documented. Fourth, carefully document how the crash and your injuries now affect your daily life. Medical records establish physical injuries. But what about pain and suffering? Keep a journal where you document your pain daily, its location, severity, and how it's disrupted your day. Finally, hire an experienced injury attorney. An attorney will handle all communications with State Farm and negotiate a settlement on your behalf, making sure you don't leave money on the table. State Farm isn't necessarily unethical, but they consistently undervalue pain and suffering damages in our experience. It's difficult for them to dispute economic damages like vehicle repairs, medical bills, and lost wages. They may argue you didn't need all that treatment, but they'll generally come close to a fair amount for these concrete losses, except if they're arguing that you share the blame. However, economic damages like pain and suffering, where State Farm and other insurance companies dramatically undervalue claims. These damages are subjective by nature. It's hard to prove and assign a monetary value to things like loss of enjoyment of life. This makes it easy for State Farm to offer little or no money for your pain and suffering, which is clearly unacceptable. Having an experienced injury attorney who understands what damages exist, that's a huge benefit in maximizing your claim. We know how to fight against lowball offers that are all too common with State Farm. Without an attorney, you might make the mistake of quickly accepting a settlement offer. Remember, once you sign that settlement agreement, you won't get any more money for State Farm for that crash. You need to get a fair settlement now because you won't have another chance. If you're dealing with State Farm after a car crash and want to make sure you get everything you deserve, I'm injury attorney Lloyd Bourgeois. Call me at 504-882-9867 for your free case consultation. We'll review your case, explain what State Farm should be paying, and fight to get you every dollar you're entitled to. Remember, when you want to win, you gotta give them the L. And if you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button right here and check out this next video.